welcome back to another episode of Raise Your Frequency. Your girl Diamond Leone here, and today we are going to be tapping on removing resistance. But first, let's talk about what is resistance. It's the not being able to get to the next level or where it is that you want to be. It's a feeling trapped, feeling frustrated, feeling like you can't do something. And what I've come to realize about resistance is it's a very sneaky little devil in that it is disguised sometimes in sadness. In other words, when we feel sad and we're not sure exactly why we feel sad about something, it could be a defense mechanism in that we feel resistance towards our goals or the things that we want to accomplish, the areas of our life that we want and need to grow in, instead of acknowledging and identifying that, I feel like I can't accomplish this goal, because what happens is we end up just feeling maybe sad or depressed, or we feel fearful or loneliness. You would be surprised, but sometimes loneliness can be a form of resistance in a certain area of our life. What's important for you is to understand that take an area of your life right now that you might be struggling in. Okay, we all have an area that we want to improve upon. We want to, make more money, or we want to have more loving relationship. We want to have a better relationship with our kids, or we want to be more productive, or we'll start a business. We all have something that we want to work towards, right? And so why aren't we there, right? Think about that for a second. So we get as far as we can go with the skill set that we have, with the belief system that we have, with the discipline levels that we have. But then at some point we do meet up with Mr. Resistance. It's a stopping point. It's the reason why we can't get from where we are right now to where it is that we want to be in these other areas of our life. And so what we tend to do is we tend to naturally sort of stay in our comfort zone, because that's what is easiest. And we have to get out of that mentality of doing what is easy versus doing what we know is going to give us long-term happiness, right? Stop playing the short game and settling for immediate gratification and giving in to temporary comforts, and really focusing on the long game and what it is that we want out of life in this particular area, and lean into that discomfort, right? Lean into that discomfort, that place that we don't want to be, whether it's working out more at the gym, or pushing ourselves to get out and network and meet, new people, or sit down and write out our goals and really, develop a plan around each of those goals so that we can easily accomplish them, or not easily, but, we got to start somewhere, right? We have to have a methodical approach. We have to have a plan. And so I want you to understand what resistance is. When we feel like we can't get to the next level in a particular area of our life, if we start feeling things like sadness or loneliness or depression, anger, procrastination, stress, like all of these things, these could all be resistance, guys. And so it's important to just identify that. Now, what do we do? How do we break through this resistance? How do we, conquer it and get rid of it and use it to our advantage? Well, you can't fix what you can't measure. So you have to figure out exactly what are the things that you're experiencing that could be a form of resistance. And what I love to do is to get out my journal and just write out how I feel about something. So for example, if I am not where I want to be with respect to, let's say, I'm going to use finances because that's something that I know a lot of people can identify with. So let's say you're not where you want to be in your finances. So then you would get your journal out and you would write out where are the areas that you're struggling in this. Is it your belief system? Is it your discipline? Is it your follow through? Is it your skill set? Like, if you just pour your heart out onto the pages of your journal, and no one else is going to read this, this is just you having a super honest conversation with yourself about what you feel are your shortcomings and what you feel are the areas that you need to improve upon. And, you know, just like, it's like if you were talking to a therapist and someone, you had to be truthful, because obviously you want this person to give you good feedback and to help you. So you have to tell the truth, the ugly, ugly truth about what could possibly be holding you back. So you're going to write this all out in your journal. And then you're going to, maybe not the same day, but the next day, come back and look at it and read it with an objective heart and say to yourself, okay, I accept that these are my feelings around this. Now, what can I do? Because let me share that whatever your challenge is, there is always, always a systematic way to solve any problem that you have. So journaling is huge. And if it's some kind of a project or a task that needs to be done, you know, start with creating like a project management process or a framework that can help you manage the multiple steps within that project that need to be completed in order for you to start chipping away at it, right? So there's a saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We tend to live in our heads a lot. And so it's really important to get everything out of your head and onto a to-do list or a process or some sort of a framework that is tangible, that you can see, that you can chip away at, that you can set goals around. So you just want to get everything out of your head. But yeah, resistance is a sneaky little devil. And I just want you to understand that you absolutely have control over it. But first and foremost, you want to get your mind right. You want to clear your energy from all of the old limiting beliefs, and you want to acknowledge your feelings, your deepest feelings around the areas of your life that are giving you resistance, so that you can reprogram your mind, rewire your brain over time to believing that you can control this, that this is something that is overcomable, that you don't have to stay stuck. So let's get into the tapping, and just remember that this might be a process, and that you might have to do this tapping a few more times until your brain catches on and says, okay, you know what? All right, this is why I'm feeling stuck. These are my emotions that I'm feeling. I acknowledge these feelings and I forgive myself, and I'm giving myself permission to think differently, to do things differently, to operate differently, and that it's okay to feel stuck. It's okay to feel everything that I'm feeling. But at the end of the day, I have the power to change it. I have the power to acknowledge it and then put together a plan to make it better. Okay, so let's get right into the tapping. If you've never done tapping before and you're new here, all you do is repeat after me and follow the sequence of tapping. All right, but before we do, take a deep breath and hold it at the top. Let it out. I don't like the feeling of not reaching my full potential. I feel uncertain sometimes about what to do next. I feel resistance and not sure why. Sometimes I feel fear, anxiety, and sadness. Sometimes I feel confusion and anger. Around this particular area of my life. And that feeling paralyzes me. Sometimes I feel like an utter failure. Because other people seem to be more successful in this area than I am. And I want this success for myself. Even though I feel all these limiting beliefs about myself, I still deeply love, honor, and forgive myself. Deep down, I know there has to be a better way. Because if someone else can do this, so can I. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not smart enough. Sometimes I feel trapped. Sometimes I feel like things will never get better. And that really scares me. Because I want so much more out of life. I want to make more money. I want to be respected and admired. I want to have a loving relationship. I want to feel needed and appreciated. I guess what I'm really trying to say is I want to feel loved. I guess I better start with myself first. Meaning it wouldn't hurt to show more compassion for myself. I release myself from all this pressure. It's exhausting living in my own head. I don't like the resistance that I feel. I'm glad I finally recognize what this feeling of resistance really means. It's just my brain trying to protect me. It wants me to stay in a comfortable place. But growth doesn't happen in Comfortville. If I want to grow, I have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I can give myself permission to do that. And even if I fail at something, at least I tried it. A win is a win. It feels good to recognize resistance for what it really is. It's nothing more than an emotion. It's nothing more than energy. and I can transmute that energy into serving me in a better area. It's nothing more than fear. And the only reason I feel fear is because I'm afraid of the unknown. And that's totally okay. In fact, that's a normal part of life. I'm giving myself permission to fail. That's right, no matter what area of my life it is, I will give it my all. But if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to die. I'll be okay, and it feels good to know that. So goodbye, resistance. Or fear, sadness, and whatever else emotions you might be disguised as. I'm taking back my power. I'm pretending that resistance is a big ice door, blocking me from getting to all the things I want in life. I am aiming my Dyson hairdryer at the wall. And on the highest heat setting possible, I can see the ice melting. It feels good to release this resistance from my heart and mind. I love my internal strength. I am saying goodbye to resistance once and for all. I am a force to be reckoned with. I am taking back my power. I can do anything that I set my mind to. I am rewiring my brain to be unstoppable. Goodbye, resistance. You are no longer welcome here. I am absolutely unstoppable from this point on. And so it is. Take a deep breath, hold it at the top. Let it out. Boy, I tell you what, I felt that energy moving all through my body when I was tapping on this topic of releasing resistance, because I know that I have resistance in certain areas of my life, right? And I know you do too. We all do, and it's normal. So let me give you an example of what resistance can look like. So let's say you want to get in better shape. When you think about what it takes to get into better shape, like eating healthier, exercising, getting more rest, decreasing stress, let's say, what is stopping you from getting into better shape? You know what you need to do in order to do it, so why don't you just do it, right? Well, there's resistance around those things for you to do them, or you would have already done them, right? So sometimes what can come in the form of resistance is being unorganized, right? So in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, he talks about habit formation and how our habits are formed, how our brain processes and rewires itself for habits. And one of the things that he talked about was removing the resistance around your habits and setting yourself up for success. What he talked about, using this same example, would be to put your sneakers and your gym outfit, set it out the night before. If you like to, in my case, I like to do green juicing before I work out. So it would be having the juicer all set up, having my refrigerator vegetable drawer organized in such a way where I can quickly grab my veggies that I'm going to juice and then just get into the juicing first thing in the morning, put my gym clothes on. So it's those little tiny small processes that, you know, take an actionable step or set ourselves up the night before as much as possible for the next day. We will have more success in that day for those particular tasks than if we had not done that. Think about an area of your life. Maybe it's not getting in better shape. Maybe it's making more money. Figure out, how can I remove the resistance around the different tasks that I know I need to do in order to have success in this area. If it's making more money, maybe you need to do some research, let's say, on starting a business, or maybe you need to research some networking events so that you can go meet people in that same field where you can get more business, meet new contacts and things like that. Like I said at the top of this tapping session, whatever challenge you have, there is a systematic way to solve it. So if you can just write down what are some of your biggest challenges in whatever area of your life that you're struggling in, and then ask yourself, what is my resistance in these areas? Is it being unorganized? Is it procrastinating? Is it managing my emotional state? In other words, do I feel depressed and sad when I think about all the things that I have to do in this area? You can do this tapping session to release the resistance, to rewire your brain, because remember, this new way of thinking in this tapping session, when you say them over and over to your brain, coupled with the tapping and the clearing the energy, you are rewiring your brain over time. It is scientifically proven. And so you've got to get in the habit of doing something repetitively over and over. And releasing resistance is no different than that. So if you want to release the resistance, you have to start taking small actionable steps. The tapping is the first step. Do this over and over as many times as you need to rewire your brain and help you to believe and understand and accept that you are in control, that you are capable of actually changing the way that you think, which ultimately will change your behaviors. That's huge. And then make a little list of what you need to do, that like the little small actionable steps that can set you up for success the next day in whatever area that you want to have more productivity or more success in. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this tapping session. I know that I'm going to come back and do this one a few more times for myself, or as many times as necessary. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe this video to anyone that you think would benefit from these tapping videos. We'd love to grow our little community here. And that's it, guys. Have a fantastic week.